Good morning. Welcome to Flat Earth Early Bird number 1578. I'm your host, Arwin. And before I start the show, please don't forget to share it on any platform you deem fit. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal, Patreon. That would be much appreciated, and you can always use the support, so please keep it coming. Right. Yeah, the weather today, it started out all nice and blue, but then it kind of turned to rain. So yeah, it's been very typical April weather. Like even yesterday, like it would clear up, and then suddenly, like late in the afternoon, this massive storm cloud came rolling in, like black. It's not here right now. And lightning, like a lot of rain and lightning came out of that. But you could like really just see like one giant big black cloud just rolling around, surrounded by pretty much clear sky. So that was a really impressive sight. And of course the lightning, it got pretty close. But I mean, lightning is very exhilarating to me, because there's any kind of typical tensions like I get in spring, a little more than usual, then a lightning strike literally like takes that tension off. It's interesting how that works. I always find lightning storms very relieving, like exhilarating and relieving at the same time, like the typical spring lightning storm. So that was nice. Anyhow, hello Clutch, first in chat. Moxie, Lennox, good to see you. See you found my channel. Awesome. It is Saturday, the 22nd of April 2023. I'm doing pretty good. Did not go to bed super late. I'm keeping it up. It's working out. Also, yeah, that makes me like eat before the show, typically. So I get an Illuminati croissant these days, and yeah, I don't eat it on the show. I eat it before, like an hour before. It's weird. I've never liked eating breakfast, but now suddenly it's like, yeah, it's working out great. Hope I'm well. Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm doing great. I'm kind of liking it here on my backup channel. Although I do hope that more people do find my channel, at least. All my old followers. I mean, I think most of them have found me, but a lot of people would occasionally kind of pop by, and those might be like confused as to where I am. What happened to my previous chat? I got a bunch of strikes, and yeah, I mean the strikes are technically over, but I'm just gonna let it wear out. I don't want to risk getting another strike, because then I might lose all my content there. So I'm just gonna keep streaming on this platform for, what is it now, the next 5 months. Lightning can be dangerous. Yeah, sure. The likelihood of that is extremely low though, Zane. I mean, there's a lot of trees, they're higher, there's taller buildings and antennas and all that. Like, you're not easily gonna get struck by lightning. You have to be like in an open field where there's like not trees sticking out everywhere, and then yeah, that might actually happen. Or like, yeah, on the top of a mountain or something, or a hill. You just have to stick out the highest, typically. Unless there's some weird special thing about you that attracts it. There are some people that apparently just attract getting struck by lightning even if they aren't the highest up of everything for some reason. It's bizarre. Some people get struck multiple times. It's weird. But yeah, I'm not afraid of getting struck by lightning. Although when it gets really close, and well, because of just the loudness of it and all that, and the bright flash, I might get a little startled and like nervous, like I might like want to close the window at least. Also because of the rain. But I mean, yeah, I'm not really worried. Besides, when there's like this giant cloud floating past, you can literally see where the lightning can come out, and it didn't really fly right over me. It flew kind of right past me over there. Right. Yeah, when it gets right over you, yeah, that's a different story. Then I'll probably like close the door, might even turn off my computer just to be safe. And just stare at the lightning. What? Oh, Zane Soto. Right. Yeah, but Lennox, I mean, technically nothing is changing. I'm just streaming on this platform now. That's the difference. And nothing has changed. The setup hasn't changed. I mean, the amount of subscribers have changed, but I mean, this channel's not monetized and I don't really need it to be. Hello, the man getter? Who are you? Who changed their names? Oz? Oh, okay. Thirty watching on old channel. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. Right? If they really meant it, then they should follow me here. I mean, if it was just a bunch of people that were kind of watching it because they're typically bored around that time and they just get a habit of watching it, they don't really care. Well, boo-hoo. Oh no. I'm much more interested in active participants. Right? I don't need like 100,000 people that like don't really get it anyway. Can't communicate it. Whatever I typically talk about, don't understand it. Like, yeah. I'm more interested in people that would actually engage so that I can interact. Exchange of information and ideas. Right. But eventually, I mean, if they really want to follow me and follow my daily live shows, then yeah, they'll have to find their way to this channel. Right? If you ever catch somebody out there in a chat or in some forum asking like, whatever happened to Arwin, just tell them. Jump in, tell them like he's streaming on a backup channel, Arwinian Bear. Right, and that should fix most of it. I mean, a lot of those people that were following could also be just hostile viewers, basically. Like people that have been like kind of weaponized against me from other flat earth circles, for example. They were just kind of like trying to spy on me or something. They don't really care. Like, how do you know the viewers are actually interested in what you do? Well, you'd require some kind of communication. Like chat communication or a comment. And I do get a lot of like trolls and gammas or people that just really don't like the way I do things. They keep hanging around too, so I don't really care for a number. I care for people that are willing to participate and support. I mean, supporters, of course. I mean, you don't have to participate. If you're supporting financially and you just kind of want to watch, that's great too. I love it. But viewing numbers don't really do anything for me. I mean, even out there, right? And depending on how many viewers is live stream that I might jump on or whatever, like it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna be the way I am anyway. Like whether there's like 100,000 viewers or like 10 or 20. Although if there are only 10 and 20, I might get a little bit more eccentric than usual. And a little bit more restrained when there's a lot of viewers. That's pretty much a difference. It'll be mostly the same though. Most of our regulars here now. Yeah, on and off. Right, but I mean, a lot of the guys that typically follow and support, they're also, well, working and busy sometimes. So like LSG, sometimes he's just too busy. Right, or Steamy Traveler, he's too busy. And then he even tells me in Skype, which I do appreciate the attention. That tells me like, yeah, I couldn't make it, but I'm watching it right now. Right? Steamy Traveler's cool. So not everybody can always be there in the chat, and that's okay. Hey, LVA Paul, good to see you, and George Sanford. I do a good job getting rid of detractors. Yeah, it seems a bit of a full-time job sometimes. It comes and goes in waves. It's like the locusts. Sometimes you gotta just keep whacking, and other times they don't come by. I posted videos of high altitude. Oh, okay, Zane Solo. Well, yeah, that could be a whole ton of people. I mean, there's like dozens of people that have done that. Which person are you referring to? You're not talking about Mr. Sensible, are you? Because he did that. But he's a baller. Or anti-flat earther. Is that who you're talking about, Saint Solo? I mean, it has been discussed too, that video from Mr. Sensible on Flat Earth debates. And it does seem like that was roughly 2 years ago. Mr. Sensitive. Ugh. Gross. He always gives this creepy S&M / psychiatrist vibe. Ugh. Gross. Besides, I mean, I don't think that being sensitive is really like, haha, that's ridiculous. I'm sensitive. Excuse me. Why would I use that for mockery? I'd rather call him Mr. Insincere, but whatever. Yeah, no, that's okay, Clutch. I mean, yeah. I know a couple of times where that didn't happen in the past, so that's a very wise move inside of the history between us. Clutch. Yes. That's okay. To be fair, I'm kind of surprised you came back. I'm kind of surprised. But that's perfectly fine. I mean, it happens. Hey, LSG, good to see you. And Terra 306, good to see you. What's his nickname? Oh, okay. Hello, Zeptepi. Yes. Captain Obvious. Ah. Right, the mage to... Yeah, that's the balloon, his balloon videos. That's right. Right, I gotta do this more often. I've been eating like a lot of greens recently, which is like, I talked about it a while back, how I'm like, oh, I need a woman with me to like get back into eating salad because it's like weird to me. But then I figured out, well, I could just go for like, I'm just gonna eat like green stuff like a cow or something now. So I get these bags of like fresh picked baby leaf, it's called, all kinds of like green stuff, like different types of lettuce and what, I don't even know what it is. And it's, some of it is kind of bitter, but they have just these baggies of them, over organic, by the way. And I chow them down. I just like, I literally feel like, but it's, yeah, it's kind of gross in a way, but on the other hand, it's like, no, it's fine. Why? Because what I get after that. And I literally just ate half a bag of that right before the show. And man, I feel so much clearer. So I think I must have had like a sort of a green shortage for a while. And now that springtime is there, is just a signal like you have to freaking eat the greens. You have to eat the fresh plants now. Now is the time. And I'm like, okay, I'll just get bags of those, and I'm pretty much chowing down a bag a day, which is like an extreme contrast with like everything before, because I barely eat greens. And usually it's like cooked vegetables, like green beans or broccoli, that kind of thing. But man, it's been feeling really good. It's like it's funny because it's been such a long time since I've done that I can literally feel certain type of processes suddenly starting up after a long time, like metabolic wise. It's weird. It's like all these things have been like set on hold for a while, and now it's like, oh, we're finally catching up again, right? But I might do this like more often, like before the show, because well, yesterday I didn't do that, and I had like all kinds of startup problems. It's just I get slow. It's weird. But just eating some of those greens, it like really wakes me up. So I'm gonna try that more often and hopefully get a more fluid show because of that. So support me through the PayPal, because yeah, it costs like $2.50 a bag. It's very much worth it though. Yeah, Zane Solo, I know. Yes, the plants have feelings too. Dude, I feel guilty when I cut up like an herb plant. I do. It's almost like I have to like sort of make myself accept that I'm just sacrificing it or something. And it gets really weird. It's like, is my ego even worth this? But then think about just like, well, if you don't do that, then you're gonna get those things cut anyway. Like you're still gonna eat it, but what, you can't face it? It's really this weird realization of just like, yeah, no, it is alive, and we eat things that were alive and they are getting killed. Even plants. And I very much feel plants are living. Very much. And every time I like cut a plant, it's like, oh, I hope I don't kill it. Like, I hope it can take it, right? Because hey, sometimes if you do it right, you cut plants in a certain way, then they just keep spawning new branches and all that, right? With herb plants. But I'm always kind of worried, like, oh, can he still take it? I should probably also like make some effort to maybe get some fertilizer involved, because I usually don't add anything besides, well, good filtered water after I buy a little plant. And then eventually they're kind of gonna run out. I should get my hands on some good fertilizers somewhere, organic. I just wish they were also that you could also get dirt and manure, just not in giant sacks, right? Because I am on a bicycle, and then to carry one of those is kind of a nuisance. I wish they had it in small. I don't need that much anyway. But yeah, I mean, ooh, nobody cares. Most people that do gardening have a car anyway. Melicity? You don't eat greens other than cucumber and broccoli? Okay, well, yeah, you can get around on that. But I do really like the green leaves, even though it makes me very much feel like I'm a cow. But that's cool. because it like, yeah, cucumber, broccoli, it is good. It helps. It feels good, right? It gives you certain things that your body does need. But like that, just like basically eating grass, but like, well, not literally grass, thanks. But like those green leafy things, lettuce types, I don't even know what it is. And like baby leaf, so it's like very young, right? They would normally probably grow larger, but they take the really young ones. And man, it's like green power to a whole nother level compared to just typical cooked vegetables. It is something else. And because it feels so good, I kind of trick that it makes me like it. It's like, I learned that trick very young. I explained it before. From my parents, it's like, yeah, but the green stuff, it tastes gross. It's not nice. But it's really healthy. And that just made me experience that. Because I was always very sensitive to whatever goes in my body, right? Food-wise, nutrition-wise, I would always feel it very much. Including candy and sugar and all that. Large response. But because it's like, no, eat this. How you feel afterward? And I'm like, yeah, I feel much more alive and fresh. And then, yeah, like eat meals and you bypass on the cell. And then how does it feel afterward comparatively to when you eat it? Well, yeah, a little bit more bogged down by it. And that's just all very telling. And that made me able, with that realization, to basically condition myself to like, this is the taste of great. Yeah, I mean, on the surface it might seem kind of gross, but it is actually the taste of glory. And then it's just that association works. So I can just like chow down a bunch of green stuff that I don't really find very appealing taste-wise. But I still like it a lot because it makes me feel great, and I kind of trick myself that way. And works great. Boerenkool? That's kale. Yeah. Right. I don't know. I don't think there's kale in between there. Superfood sounds like mainstream. Yeah, but it isn't actually. It is actually true though. About the green, when vegetables are leaf vegetables especially are labeled superfood, they really are. I mean, it's those types of vegetables that are often also used to make supplements because they are really good. Translates to kale. Okay. Cows eat greens so you don't have to. Hey, dude. If you can just... Yeah. But I mean, meat is kind of expensive and... Yeah, it works. But... I don't know. Look, I'm not telling you to eat your greens, okay, LVA Paul? That's your mother's job. She should have done that. Okay, I'm not gonna do that for you. I'm just telling you how it works with me. And that you can just... I promise you, it will actually work. It's really the not liking the taste that makes you have that attitude. Right? I mean, I hadn't eaten things like baby leaf for like at least a year. So I'm not used to it at all, barely eating any fresh greens. Then I eat it and it's like, oh, finally, bang. So it's not like, oh man, that takes some getting used to. No, it was like, oh, finally. So it is really good. Oh, okay. Wow. LVA, dude, if you can afford that, that's some crazy luxury there. Lamb better than beef? Maybe. I don't like lamb. I don't like sheep meat. The smell of it. Claytonia? Okay. Right. But anyway, I could imagine that like a beef cow fed on baby leaf like I have exclusively would be like absolutely amazing quality flesh, probably. But I mean, that would be kind of expensive. What? Huh. Never seen that before. That's edible? Wow, I would have never guessed. Miner's lettuce. Huh. Cool, I guess. Dude, there's so many plants that can be eaten, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Nuts are good food. Yeah, they can be good. I'm a big fan of peanuts myself. Like peanuts are always like very welcome to my system. I digest them very well. But yeah, other than that, I don't particularly like almonds. Pistachios. Right, and there's this other thing with nuts, right? I mean, nuts are kind of good, but there's like more stuff involved in digesting them, really. Right? So, like you could get uh, omega-3, for example, through nuts. But if you take it through fish oil, like it, you digest it much quicker. It finds its places much easier. Walnuts, right. So yeah, nuts take a little bit longer to digest typically. Right. So I've never really been a big nuts fan, but I'm just like, oh yeah, sure. If it's organic and it happens to be there, yeah, I'll chow down some of that maybe. But I don't typically have that involved in my diet. Except for like satay sauce, peanuts. With my french fries. I love that. Ooh. Oh, seriously? Yeah, you gotta be careful, man. With almonds especially because they have cyanide in them, the natural compound. If you eat too much of that, you could literally poison yourself with like a horrifying headache. Also happens when you eat too much marzipan. On top of the sugar rush. Which is why you don't understand? Well, I do. I mean, if you like eat too many almonds all the time, well, maybe if you eat it all the time, it wouldn't be that. Yeah. I don't know why crazy people are called nuts. Maybe it's because of the thick skin. I don't know. That's an interesting thing. I never thought like why is that an English saying? Why would they call people why would they say nuts? Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Who came up with that? I wonder. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, Elfie, thanks for looking that up, but still it doesn't really explain like why except for a weird association. So that's a weird one though. So if you like associate somebody's just talking gibberish and you basically get distracted in your mind and then look at their head and think and like you get totally distracted and just think like yeah, it's like a we call it like a big walnut or something. But I mean it's still odd. A weird thing. One's not separated from it. This is still weird, Septepi. English people are weird? Yeah. Yes, they are. Google gives mixed answers. Oh, but Septepi, Google is always super reliable. You must be mistaken. Google never gives mixed answers, right? I mean, just look up the Coriolis effect. It's always uniform. It never says anything that contradicts itself, right? Right. Anyway. Greenleaf, it's great. I'm really liking it. I think I need it for a while. It's just like I need a cow month, right? I mean, religions do fasting or whatever, and like Ramadan, I have like, I need a green month. I need to eat greens like a cow, and then I'll probably stop again because it's like filled up. Old English, yeah. I mean, I know Zane Solo. I mean, that's pretty common knowledge. Right, but it's still a messy saying. It just seems like that came forth from being distracted about somebody's incoherent rambling, and then you just start to think about nuts. It's weird. What? Humpty Dumpty was a cannon? What are you talking about? Man, hope the rain is gonna stop soon. I have to get through this. Oh, it doesn't seem to be raining very hard. Micro droplets. Oh well. You like red? Yeah, me not so. I don't get it. Humpty Dumpty? It's the name of a giant cannon that sat on the wall. Really? What the? But did that precede the Humpty Dumpty Eggman story? Or did it come after it? Like, why would they call a cannon Humpty Dumpty? What a weird name. Okay. Where did you get that? Where did you get that from? Is that just something you Googled or something? Just Wikipedia? Seems to be mostly about the egg. Yeah, I don't see what you're talking about. Oh wait, no, I see it. It is in Wikipedia, huh? Right, so it's from 6048. Where's Colchester? Is that England? Yeah, in England. So it's like a English Civil War story, right? That's a very good build if it fell and cracked. Well, it's all cast iron. And they literally cast it on the spot, so that will give difficulties. George Sanford. How could it ever fire? Well, yeah, it would have probably if it was weak enough to break in two, then it probably would have like blown up when they fired it. Yeah. Probably some impurities in the casting, in the iron, so it became too brittle or something. And then it will crack more easily. Yeah, I know some about metallurgy, so that's probably the reason. They just didn't cast it properly. Yeah, pollution within the metal, and then it became too brittle. Fell off a wall, that's how it broke. Yeah. But I mean, Adam, like a cannon is literally a solid piece of cast iron. Usually those are able to take quite a punch. Like, that doesn't break that easily. Or under any circumstances. I mean, had a great fall. Yeah, of course. But I mean, a cannon shouldn't be as brittle as an egg, right? Brittle. So that with my knowledge, that means impurities in the casting. So they didn't cast it properly. Otherwise, yeah, it would have just rammed into the ground and then not break. Or maybe dent a little or something. I mean, it doesn't really break that easily. How many broken cannons have you ever seen, right? You don't find them broken. Worn, perhaps, right? Not broken. I mean, that's solid freaking cast metal and not the thin stuff that we typically deal with these days. This is just a huge chunk of pure cast iron. How did the cannon turn into an egg? Well, because they used it as a metaphor, obviously, right? Like, oh, let's just say, like, maybe it was like a new idea, and the metallurgist that was making these cannons was like, yeah, I got this real awesome thing. We just cast it into place, and he was bragging, and it then on went to shit, and the thing broke. And it was kind of embarrassing. Probably got fired or something for that. I don't know. They didn't try that again. And then it's like, yeah, brittle cannon. Well, that's kind of like, that doesn't make any sense. So they just turned they fused the man with the cannon and it became an egg. Because eggs are very typically brittle. So it kind of just migrated in its emphasis, the story, and that just turned into another story and then became that pure symbolic reference of somebody with pride. I think it's probably that it went probably that way. They call it Humpty Dumpty because of the way it... What? Okay. How does a Humpty Dumpty sound? Like boom, 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 boom. Like what? Weird. But they did actually fire this, so they did use it. They did work. I don't know. Maybe, look, I don't know how high that wall is. Maybe if like a cannon falls from like a really vast height, like 100 meters or so, yeah, then it would probably just break in two. Like even if it was well cast. So yeah, it kind of depends on how high that wall was then. And I take it's like built on rock face. Because I mean, if a cannon lands in sand or water, it's not gonna break into pieces. Like, is there a photo of that? No, of course there's not a photo that time. But is that castle, does it still exist? Are there photos of the, like, modern photos of that old castle? Oh yeah, the Colchester. Right, how high is that? Doesn't seem really super high. What is that? Like 20 feet? 30? Alright, anyway, now we know where that story came from. I never knew that. Forged is stronger. Yeah. No, yeah, of course. Forging, like actually compacting the metal, and it becomes more tensile. You can you can bend it. Yeah, try to bend it. It flexes back. I mean, cast iron doesn't do that. It's naturally more brittle. But I mean, if you just need a huge thing with a lot of mass, a lot of thickness, yeah, you can't forge that, so you cast it. Right? Forging is for things that are going to be smaller, thinner, but extremely strong despite its thinness. That was the power of steel. Too long. I don't know. Did they like dig up the canon later and then have it like as a historical reference? Like, hey, this is the broken Humpty Dumpty canon from the myth. I mean, that should draw some tourism. Oh, I want to see the Humpty Dumpty canon. The one that everybody talks about as being an Eggman. Yeah, that's right, LPA Paul. It usually does, and when the impurities are too much, it all becomes really brittle. Right? If there's, especially if there's like gas trapped during the casting, then yeah, that aggravates even more. So yeah, casting is a bit tricky. The trickiest part was to really get it hot enough. Wasn't hot enough, then there would be lots of impurities. Because the hotter it is, the more the impurities will come floating to the top in its liquid state. That's how it works. I learned that through goldsmithing. That was my most successful random comment on my channel. I guess so, LSG. No, it was interesting. I didn't know that. And it's always interesting to learn such things, to learn more information about general sayings that are being thrown around all the time. Oh, by the way, like just a bit of a reference, talking about Humpty Dumpty. I mean, the news over here is like really, well, the alternative ones is like there seems to be like it feels like this, like my government could like literally collapse any moment. Like there's being exposed really hard now. Like more than ever before. It's basically they've come to the phase where these cartel politicians are just acting like it's all just a game. It's become to that level. Like they're laughing about it. About how easy it is for them to just lie about it all and get away with it. It's really crazy. So some things are gonna change, and it's, yeah. No, Jared Sanford, nonsense. That's not true. People want order. They don't want a one-world government. They just want their government to start or to stop being Marxist. That's it. Right? Hey, and if every government suddenly gains its senses and stops just attempting to murder its own people, then everybody will naturally cooperate with some competition, naturally, right? But that doesn't mean one world government. That just means restoring order, right? I mean, the problem with a lot of what's going on is these groups that are designated and being brought into existence to form a one world government. Well, they are under attack. The UN is in big trouble. The people are really catching on how crazy that group really is, and it's been kind of like leaking out through alternative media for quite a while. But, I mean, it's really coming to a head. It's coming to its peak. It's being seen. So after that, there's not... Like, they're not just going to be like, oh, well, we were all fucked up and evil and eugenics, but now we're going to be good. Like, that's not going to happen anymore. So whatever is going to take their place, it's going to be something new. They're probably going to attempt to go grassroots again. Because, like, yeah, the people in their power positions, it's all buckling. It's getting seen. They're still exercising control, but they are not fooling anybody anymore, and that is conditional, right? A crazy neo-feudal bureaucracy like that can only persist if they manage to keep enough people delusionally following them. And it's not gonna happen anymore. It's buckling. So then they get red lights. They don't get the green lights anymore with everything. And then they can't do anything anymore, including their transformation plans. Right? They still need green lights everywhere for that to actually happen. Otherwise, it'll just mostly be bluff and intimidation, psychologically. And they're already there. They're already in, like, massively bluffing and, like, giggling while they're lying. And, like, that is a very big sign on the wall. That's, like, the Caligula phase, I would have called it. They make it extra crazy just to try to numb everybody down. Right? It's like, if you unexpectedly terrorize most people will just be like, what the fuck is this? And then, like, be weirded out by it. It's like it's too much for them. They don't really know what to think about it. They can't really see the logic in it, and then it kind of pacifies, right? Being too extreme does that. But eventually, everybody snaps out of it. And then you got a big problem if you've been doing that. And we're getting there. It's arriving. It's getting here quick. I said, like, earlier this year, like, it's gonna be this year, I think, for my country. I wonder, though, what's gonna happen after all this. I mean, the whole Ukraine thing is... Like, I don't know what's gonna happen with it afterward, right? I mean, what happens once that whole crazy politicians, New World Order politicians, let's just call it that, once they give it up, the Ukraine war? Like, what happens after that? Like, what happens with their people that are also, like, that are more the acting out people? I don't know, military types. Like, what are they gonna do after that plan is broken? I got the feeling they're going to, like, literally come back to Europe and maybe even attempt to just coup it. Like, as soon as we get the shitty politicians out and kind of restore things, there might be a coup from them. Like, suddenly shady military figures just, like, take over, to force it back into control of these Nazi bureaucrats, which at this point they really are, quite literally, like even with a direct historical connection to that, in a sense, through Ukraine and their Azov battalion stuff and all that. So what is going to happen after? This is the thing that I am a bit worried about, right? Because yeah, this situation, there's only one way this is going to end. But what happens after? I'm worried. I'm worried there's going to be like a massive backlash for Europe. And I'm not talking about the politicians, I'm talking about the people. And not through Russia doing that as a revenge or something, but rather like these people that have been part of this scheme creating war against Russia and Ukraine. Like, what are they going to do? Like, not all of them are just going to like get caught. What are they going to do? How are they going to regroup? Where are they going to go at? What are they going to go after? They're going to just like do a scorched earth revenge back on Europe? Or are they going to try to take over countries? Coup them? Unexpected military coup? That I don't know what will happen. And I'm kind of nervous about that. Like, there's part of my Dark World visions that dealt with that, and I am very uncertain about it. Like, I can't tell whether that was a projection or whether I actually lent, or whether it actually lent recording, visual recording through eyes from actual situations in the world of the actual future. I don't know. I'm not certain about that. I'm certain that Russia's going to win. I'm not certain about what happens afterward. Exactly. Although I have a strong suspicion that at some point Russia is like going to be forced to basically occupy certain regions just to get order. Because a lot of like leftist crazy people, the Antifas or whatever, are gonna literally just go road warrior all of a sudden. Like literally just start total chaos and mayhem. There's a big chance they will be doing that. And then what happens? Somebody's gotta get control. Well, I don't know. It gets kind of fuzzy. One word. You keep saying that, George Sanford, but you don't even know what that means. It's already here. Oh yes, sure. Oh really? So who's sitting in it? Who's the one world government? Name the institution, George Sanford. Name the institutions that are ruling over us, that are the one world government. Go ahead. And then you lay out how that actually works, how all factions are under control. Go ahead. The World Bank. It's a bank. How is that a one world government? It's a bank. And yeah, they scheme the shit out of the place. I know that. And they literally break or make countries and all that. Get their control. Yeah, but that's not the government though. That's not that. Yeah, they don't have control. They just have a lot of power and play with the world. It's not a government. They just have a lot of power to play with things and determine the outcome of regions, etc. Yeah? That's not a government. They can't just dictate things. They can only manipulate, bribe, or give a shit ton of money to their neighbors to basically have a war with a group because that group didn't go along. That sort of shit. That's not literally government. Right? They don't have any official control like that. Yeah, yeah. Shaggy obviously doesn't have any inkling on what he's talking about. No person calling themselves Shaggy logically would. Right, LVA poll. Yeah, that's right. But effectively works more like a out of control guild that's very dominating, and they manipulate and they bribe and they just have a lot of power, but they're not literally government. Do you think the World Bank has more? No, Shaggy, that's not how it works. Yeah? The US has more debt than the World Bank. Yeah? It's all debt based. And the US has more debt. Yeah? Right? But nobody's borrowing money from the US. Yeah? That's not how that works. That's what the World Bank does, that sort of thing. I mean, who'd be crazy enough to literally lend money from the US? That's insane. They can never pay. Of course. But all of that system, all debt-based currency systems can never be repaid. That's the point of it. They rigged it so that the banks would own everything. That's the game. Right? They'll own everything until people are absolutely sick of it, and then they'll literally kill them all and then take everything back. Or partially. Right? That's how it works. Still, that's a bank, though. That's a bank, and with influence and power, not a world government. Right? You could say colloquially, well, they're the real power. And it'd be like, yeah, sure, but that's not a government, though. Right? They do business with governments. They are not the government in itself. Yeah, everybody starts their own currency, gets taken. Yeah, of course. If you compete with it, then you got a problem and everybody's going to get rigged against you, like what happened with Gaddafi. But, yeah, that's called schemes. It's not a government. That's just a very big, bloated financial guild that has a lot of power and keeps manipulating everything. And everybody just lets that happen. Like, nobody's like making it illegal. I think that the World Bank should just be abolished. Like, how about you just make that completely illegal? Yeah? How about making usury universally illegal? Right? There's entire cultures that already do that very wisely. They do great. Because they don't get consumed by some cancerous, bloaty bank system that can just make value up and then swallow everything whole. Globe theory, by the way. Classical homeopath. That's right, we are foolishly entrapped in the usury system, and it's going to end fatal. Either you remove that sin, or you all die. Yeah? That's how that really works. I mean, these things are classified very, very blatantly in religions as a sin against God for a reason. It's because of what it does, and the people that get attracted to that, what they will do with it eventually. It's inevitable. It can never be sustained. It will always blow up. Like any sin that's normalized. It will always blow up in the end. It can never last forever. Never. That's the nature of sin, and that's why those things are so emphasized in books like the Bible. Usury is a sin. Right? Because of what will happen. I mean, everything that's happening right now, none of it is new. None of that. Right? People in the far, far past went through shit just like that. I mean, not these kind of level techno gadgets in the technology maybe, but everything else, nothing's really changed. They said those things, they made those rules, those sins, they clarified them because they knew, they had seen it happen again and again and again. Everywhere they went and those sins were normalized, it would go to shit in that way. And that's how you know it's a sin. You normalize this, you're destroyed. But in this way. Because it always happens in that way. And that's how you know. That's how you know God's command. And if you fail to obey, it will destroy all of you. Yeah, that's how that works. They know it from experience. They didn't just guess it or heard some ethereal being tell it to them. No, they seen it. And that's how they know. They saw it. And then they cast it into a religious format. So that people would be more readily assimilating it as is. Right? But the wise people that basically the wise men that would write these things and they would carry the traditions, they knew because they saw it and they understood it. Sin and the normalization of bad sinful behavior leads to destruction for the individual, and if not for the individual, well, eventually always will, but also for everything around you and your nation. Right? If a nation normalizes a sin, it will be destroyed by that sin. Inevitable. There's nothing you can do to alter that fate except stop it. So yeah, World Bank, permanent problem until it's resolved. Just like the UN, right? UN and its crazy normalization of pedophilia and all that garbage. Really messed up. It must end. If it's allowed to continue, it will destroy everything. Everything. Everything will be destroyed. People's minds will be destroyed. Their spirit. Their land. Their nation. Until it's all death and poisonous mutated garbage. Materialism rules the world. Not really. I disagree with that notion. If anything, materialism keeps things still somewhat in balance, right? Materialism, in a way, is pragmatism. It's just that if you become materialist as a cover story to allow yourself to sin, it's like, oh, I'm a materialist because I don't believe in God. Oh, why is that? Well, it's because I like to screw people in the ass, for example, or I don't agree with this or that other thing, or I like to rip people off, right? That's amusing to me. Like, yeah, all those things. It's all the reason for you to become a materialist, right? People become atheist materialist, a lot of them, because they do not want to accept that what they like to do is sinful. They refuse to acknowledge that. It's not necessarily because they don't really believe there is a God and all that. It's just they don't want to know anything about it because it forces their consciousness to face that they are living a sin and that it is killing them or is going to kill them eventually, right? And thereby, materialism, atheism, all that, it's very convenient thing to fall back to. It's kind of pragmatic in a way. So pragmatism effectively rules the world. It's what keeps things in balance despite hysteria. It's not to blame. It's the sins of the people that turn to atheism and materialism that destroy things, and they turned to it because they didn't want to acknowledge their sins is our sins. That's why they do it, right? Cover, taking cover, grabble, you become it, to use it as an excuse to do your nasty shit, right? Well, there's people that might be materialist or atheist that aren't that because they're using it as a cover to sin and be disgusting, right? Not all of them do. Some are just like not really interested in spiritual stuff. They just want to keep things balanced. They want to keep things going, right? They want to make sure commerce doesn't collapse, economy doesn't collapse. Well, that's materialism. That's pragmatic. That doesn't have to be evil. It's the people using materialism and atheism as a cover to sin that is the problem. Not materialism and atheism by itself. Yeah? Sin is the problem. And knowingly lying, right? But if you're a materialist because you just don't understand anything about God or the Spirit, you can't feel it, you don't have it, you don't have any way to connect to it, then is that evil? Are you sinning because you just don't get it? Right? No. It's when you know and you're doing it anyway, and you're like talking into everybody like, oh yeah, oh so great, right? And this is not a sin. That's the grabble. That's the grabblers. Those are the problem. People that use a culture or a rule system or whatever, philosophy, as a cover story to be seemingly more acceptable while using that as a cover for sin and disgusting things. Yeah, that's the problem. Not the position, not the point of view. That's not the problem. It's people abusing the point of view as a cover that is the problem. As is it everywhere. Always. Always that is the problem. People using something as a cover to sin. That is the universal problem. Not the positions, not the vantage point, not the viewpoint, not the philosophy. It's people abusing it to take cover. That is the problem. That's why you shouldn't allow people to do that. You shouldn't allow people to sin. And this is something that Islam got right. with the Sharia system. Shouldn't allow it. Right? You can't just leave it to people's voluntarism to choose whether they sin or not. It's a big difference culturally too. What's up with the Apocalypse Cafe? Yeah, it's an idea, Skeptic. I'm brewing on it. I talked about it yesterday. I mean, there's not really a lot to talk about. It just has to kind of like sink in, and I'm telling the guys and Adam and all that. Adam knows about it now. But there has to be some spark first, I guess. I guess that me being super enthusiastic is not enough to make it all happen all of a sudden. It just has to sink in. First, at least I put down the idea of, look guys, we could do this. Another branch of this tree legacy of things we've done here. So just take some time. All right? Expedite that platform? Right, well, yeah, well, first you have to get people together and decide on what we're going to talk about. Like, because it won't be like a daily show where it's just whoever shows up and it's just a bunch of talking. It should be more subject oriented, where we basically think up what we're going to talk about, discuss that before we do the show, so we can have a more ordered rollout. Of the subjects that we're talking about. That's kind of what I was hoping for. I mean, it might just turn into just a whoever shows up cafe situation, maybe. But I mean, if you do it like once a week or once every 2 weeks, that's much less likely to happen. Because you have like 1 or 2 weeks to basically think about, oh, what about this? What about that? Make notes, put them together, discuss it before you do the show, and then like, okay, how are we going to roll this out? As soon as possible. Okay, Skeptic, take it easy there. Materialism can be put richer, more you can give to. Yeah, but there's no point in materialism like that. That only works if you have more advanced economic views, Zane Solo, right? So once you realize that, hey, all that richness, all that currency or whatever you have, at some point it's not really gonna make that much of a difference anymore compared to loyalty of people, right? Once you start to understand that, then you understand that the money isn't actually the wealth, it's the people you got surrounded with, that you're doing business with. Those are eventually the ones that make it all, and make it all possible, right? Without people, there is no currency, doesn't do anything, right? And that can be, if a person that has money is wise enough, they will realize that it's like giving money to the poor is not just, oh, I have to do my duty for God. No, it's literally ensuring that there's stability and no grievous injustice that everybody has to stare at all the time, right? That's the pragmatic side of it. It's not just, oh, giving to the poor, because giving to the poor doesn't do anything. Not saying not to do it at ever or whatever, but it's by itself doesn't really change anything, right? It's like, yeah, if you give them something that they, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to really roll out an entire conversation about that. Right. It's basically the saying, give a man a fish he can eat for a day, teach a man how to fish and they can eat for a lifetime, as long as there's enough fish around. Right? That concept. By the ideas of rich is different. Yeah, well, if it's literally just based on a numerical value on a bank account, yeah, I mean that usually doesn't really even mean that much, because a lot of money that rich people have is kind of conditional. I mean, they can lose it just like that. Right? A lot of these really messed up rich people, they don't really have their money. They're more like pets being able to enjoy the riches, but they don't really have it. As soon as they step out of line or not do something horrific they're being ordered to do, then they immediately lose it all. So they don't really have it. It's almost like a bluff to the rest of the little people, the dumb people that don't really understand anything, to lure them in. Because they have so much money, so much wealth, but those people often don't realize like how freaking useless it really is to be like that rich. But they just get to see the shiny part. They get to see the veneer, the outside of it all. Right? That works. That gets more dupes to line up and try to become part of it. That can be used and abused. And recruits could be found in there. Like people like, oh, I was poor. I never want to be poor again. Okay, you just have to do really horrific things. Okay, I'll do it. I don't want to be poor again. And that's what they're hoping for. They don't advertise how fucking miserable they really are and how powerless they are. No, because the veneer of power and the shine of it to lure the poor is part of the trick of it. What's going on out there? Well, people get huge amount of money and then they get all the fame and shit, but they don't really have the money. They just do one thing out of line and they lose it all. So they didn't have it. It was just a bunch of polish to be part of that mechanism. To be a cog in their machine. Shiny golden cog. As soon as you stop turning though, you immediately lose it. You lose all that. You fall out. And you don't have anything left. Except for people being like that are gonna hate you. It's like, yeah, you did all that creepy dark shit and now you lost it. Haha, we're gonna get you now. Right? And backstabbing from colleagues and all that happens, right? You got power, you got money in a way like that through dark contractual obligations and all that. Yeah, you step out of there and everybody's gonna attack you all of a sudden. It's quite fucked up, a life like that. Marlon Brando, 11 children, Jesus. Yeah, right. Yeah, with the pop music and movie world, it works like that a lot of the time, especially the music industry. I think it's the worst with that. You get all this money. No, it's just there to make you more popular, because as soon as you quit, they just take it all. Could help famine. No, but they're not going to end famine. Famine will never be ended by money power. Never. Soon as somebody does that, they get assassinated. Yeah? Soon as you really end the poverty and the famine, then the other rich people will kill you. Right? So if you're gonna do that, well, you better then create like a military with that. Because you're gonna get every fucking other person in the world with money against you, roughly. All their conspiracy groups and all the shit, they're all gonna turn against you. It's just like what happened with Gaddafi. Right? Because money is not gained to relieve others of poverty. Right. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. I'm kind of fluid today. It's nice. I think it's the salad that did it. I really do. Much more focused than yesterday. Anyway, I'm gonna take a 2-minute break and be right back. And I'm back. You get away with a lot on YouTube, dude. What are you talking? Who are you talking to? And what are you talking about? No, I don't care. What the fuck are you talking about, Moxie? Are you talking about me? Things that I talk about? What did I do wrong? Dude, why don't you two stop blabbering about that and clarify what you're talking about? Okay, so then what are you talking about? What, skeptic can't say YouTube is just a box? And you should go to other... What, you can't say... You think YouTube is gonna ban people for saying in chats, oh, you might want to go to something else as YouTube? Excuse me? Where are you getting this from? Alright. Can I get some clarification there, Moxie? Skeptic thinks YouTube restricts us. Yeah, it's not thinking, that's literally self-admitted fact, Moxie. That's admitted by YouTube that they do that. Yeah? So what the hell are you talking about? And why the fuck would YouTube do anything about anybody that points that out? They literally admitted in writing that they do that. They even said it on camera in Congress, in the United States Congress, that they do that. There is a video on my channel, one of the very, very few videos that I actually uploaded on my original Arwin channel, of them literally saying that in Congress. So yeah, they do that. They do restrict flat earther traffic. And that's a fact. In writing. Seems like you're very ill-informed, Moxie. Okay, well, skeptic, I wouldn't want to take it that far, but I mean, there's other platforms. Rumble looks almost identical, and they don't restrict anything. Right, but we gotta test it some first. And yeah, the Apocalypse Cafe project is gonna be on Rumble, and so we're gonna probably, before we do anything, really make a show, do some test streaming first to get it all to work, see how it happens, what it's like, and then move forward with that knowledge that we have gained from that test. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, LVA Paul. Yeah, man, time has flown. It's been a good show though, right, guys? What am I gonna call it? I'm not gonna call the show. Maybe something like, if you normalize sin, it will destroy society. There's plenty of triggering. It's very basic though. What do you guys think? Good title? You got something better maybe? What the fuck? Why bring Sean Hawkins into this? Skeptic. Oh, Sean Hawkins. Wow, noob. Moxie, you're such a noob. But let's not talk about him. Yeah? Let's not. I don't want to bring him up. He's a waste of time. So that pretty much summarizes. Who's Sean Hawkins? A waste of time. That's who he is. Right, yeah, thanks, Zane Solo. Foul-mouth waste of time. Yeah, well, the foul... It's... Dude, foul-mouth, whatever. He is just like... Every time he attempts to criticize something, it's always so pointless. I mean, he's kind of like as stupid as Simon Dan, except he's just not even attempting to be presentable, right? So it's like Sean Hawkins is like Simon Dan, but completely unpresentable. It's the smartest clone. No, Cleary. Right, anyway guys, I'm running out the show. Hope you all liked it. Any support for my baby leaf consumption would be great. Whoa! Who is that? Somebody really is level. Oh, is that LVA? From you, bro. Thank you for the support, man. Damn. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I didn't expect that. You are the best, man. It's like you do so much work and you support. It's crazy. I feel like a useless eater sometimes compared to some other people out there. But thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate that. And it's very helpful. Very much indeed. Right. So thanks everyone for coming. Hope you liked the show. If you did, then please don't forget to Rogans it up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal and the Patreon. That would be much appreciated. And thank you, LVA Paul, for the support. It's great. Keeps me going. Right, I'll be back tomorrow with Flat Earth Early Bird number 1579 on a Sunday. And of course, there's also Ballbusters this evening again over at Quantum Eraser channel. And I'll be on it as usual. I hope to see you there in the chat. And yeah, Nathan Oakley premieres and all that. Maybe Flatzoids. So yeah, have a great Saturday. Hope you got beautiful weather, not so much rainy weather, but enjoyed the spring, whatever it is. Skeptic, what? From you too? Oh. Okay. Check that out. Ah, thank you, man. Thanks. Get some smokes or soda. Yeah, I will. Thank you very much. And yeah, I know you support me regularly, so I mean, whether you give me a giant amount at once or little bits over time, it all helps. So thank you very much. Most likely be on Flatside stream. All right, yeah, I might join him as well. I mean, his sound is pretty good these days, and I mean, as long as he's not like going up against some anti-flat earther, I'd love to be part of that. Right. Anyhow, until the next video, keep it flat.